Hi everyone, this is Leslie, and today I'm going to be talking to you about making these little flower elements, kind of like the open stars that I did a while back, but these are little flowers, and I'm going to be doing them using 4 different colors of beads so you can follow along, and I think it makes a really nice effect, and you can use them for earrings or elements in other jewelry. Okay, let's talk about materials. I've got a yellow and a white for the inside of the flower, and then I've got 2 different colors of purple. I'm going to make this one in purple for the rest of the flower. And like the star that I did previously, this is going to be a 10-row project. We're going to do 6 rows for the first side, and then we're going to turn it over and do 4 rows to fill in. Row number 1 is on the very inside, and row number 6 is on the very outside. So that's going to be the same kind of thing. The increases and decreases will be a little bit different. And I've adjusted them from the star that I made, or the little flower like this that I made last year. I think this is working a little bit better. So like I said, I've got 4 different colors of delicas. I've got a number 10 beading needle, and I've got some purple KO beading thread. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to make a ring of beads. Let me think, I guess it's 50 beads. So 3 yellow and 7 of the white, and we'll do that 5 times. Three yellow, 7 white, until you've got enough for all the 5 petals of this flower. And I'll be right back when I've got that done. Okay, I've got my circle of beads. I went through 1 bead, 1 of the yellow beads, right there. And I do recommend that you use thread for this as opposed to fire line, because these dimensional pieces with increases and decreases just need a little more flexibility than fire line can give. That's a bit stiffer. Okay, so we're going to do immediately some very specific increases and decreases. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to decrease on this yellow. So we're going to skip over the middle yellow and go through the next one. And that's going to make that point in the middle of the flower, like that. Then with my purple, I'm going to peyote 1, and then for the next stitch I'm going to pick up 2, and I'm going to increase 2 over 1. So in that next peyote space, put 2 beads, and then I'm going to do that again. 2 over 1, one more time. This is making that little curve of the petal. And then I'm going to peyote 1 more, regular peyote, and that will put me in the yellow again. You see that? That's one of the first petals. And I'm going to repeat that going all the way around. So again, I'm going to skip this middle yellow one and go right into the next one. That's my decrease for this row. This is row 3. You already did rows 1 and 2 when you made your circle. And then I'm going to do that again. Peyote 1, pick up 2, increase in the next space, 2 over 1, do that again, 2 over 1, and then peyote 1. And that'll put you back in the next yellow section. And then pull it tight. You'll see how that puts that yellow bead right down in the middle. That's how it should look. And I'm going to come back at the end of this row to talk to you about finishing this row and stepping up to the next row. Okay everybody, we're reaching the end of row 3. And I want to lay in the last bead and show you what's going to happen, and we're going to step up. So I'm going to go into that last yellow, the section of beads, and then I'm going to need to step up. There we go. So go through the yellow bead you went through the first yellow bead, go through the third yellow bead, and again step up through the purple bead. Now it's going to look kind of funny like that, but give both of those threads a little tug in opposite directions, and it already is starting to look like a flower. Don't worry, it's going to be a little wonky, but that's going to correct in the next couple of rows. Okay, so we're going to start row 4. For this row, we're going to peyote around, putting one bead in each space, including the increases that we did in the last row. So those 2 purple beads, put a purple bead between. Peyote 1 over the white. And again, between the increases. There we go. Peyote 1. Now you're going to come down into this corner. Now do not add a bead. We're going to decrease. So go from that purple bead to the next purple bead in the next section, like that. This is going to make those center 3 yellow beads sit really nicely in the middle. Again, I'll go over this with you again. Peyote 1, peyote 1 between the increase of the last row, peyote 1 over the white, peyote between the 2 increased beads again, 1 more peyote, and go through the purple bead in the next section. Do not add a bead at that corner, not on this row. Okay, you see how that's shaping up nicely. Keep going around, and I'll come back at the end of the row to meet you there. Okay, we're at the end of row 4, and I'm going to lay the last bead in here. And then again, I'm going to step over to the next section without increasing, and I'm going to step up then. There we go. Now it's really starting to look like a little flower already. Now I'm going to switch to this darker purple for the last 2 rows, for rows 5 and 6. So for row 5, we're going to peyote around 1 bead per space. Like this. And when you come to that corner, let's go ahead and put a bead, 1 bead in that corner, like that. I tried doing it without it, but it makes it just a little bit too severe for these petals. So just keep going around. Peyoting 1 per space, and again at the corner, put in 1 bead, just like that. And I will meet you back to complete the last row on this side. Okay, here we are at the end of row 5. My last bead is going to be that bead that goes in the little corner here, and then I'm going to step up to come back to the outside. Look at that. It's coming along. Okay, for the last row on this outside, we're going to be doing 2 beads in these kind of large spaces on the corners, and we're going to be putting 2 beads in at the corners. So where I'm starting from, I'm going to pick up 2 just to fill in that space. So peyote 2, peyote 1, and right over the top of the petal. Peyote 2. It's going to look like that. And then I'm going to add a bead right into the corner and going out of the corner, like that. Let's do that one more time. I'm going to pick up 2, peyote 2, 1 at the top, 2 again, and then peyote 1 into the corner, and keep going around like that. And I'll meet you at the end of this row, and then we'll go back down to the center and do the inside rows. Okay, I find myself at the end of row 6 on the outside. I've got 1 more bead to lay in, and then I don't need to step up because I'm not going to go any more rows on the outside. I'm going down to the inside. So I'm going to put that last bead in. This is what it's going to look like. Now I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to guide it down to the center. Take my thread down. Now we're going to do 4 rows to complete this, and it's basically going to be echoing row 2, 3, 4, and 5 from the first side. So row 2 isn't one that we actually peyoted, but we're basically going to mirror what we did in row 2. So we're going to be doing white and yellow. So there's going to be 3 peyote stitches on each side and 2 yellows. So since I've started, so 1, 2, 3, I've started in the 4th out of 5 stitches on this side. So I'm going to do a white, and then when you come to a yellow, put a yellow over that yellow and go through that center bead. Okay, so we're going to go yellow, and peyote. You'll see that it's a little bit confusing, but you'll see the beads kind of going in and out, and there should be 3 whites. So just look for those beads. The next sticking up bead, pass over 1 right here. Alright, I've got my 3 beads. Peyote yellow over the yellow, and another yellow over the yellow. Whoops. And keep going around like this until we get to the end. This is the most confusing row, I promise. It gets easier from here. And it's going to look a little wonky. It's going to be kind of, you're shoving the beads together and they're going to kind of be moving around, but that will all get resolved in the next couple of rows. Keep going and I'll see you at the end of this row, row 2 on the inside. Okay, I've reached the end of my row. See how wonky this is all looking? But I've reached the last white bead in this row. I'm going to go over and I'm going to step up. So you can go back and count just to make sure you've got 3 white and the 2 yellow on each section. It does look a little funny. So now for the second row on this inside build up, we're going to be mirroring row 3 on the first side. So that was done in the light purple. So we're going to peyote 1, and we're going to skip over that middle yellow bead and go into the next one. And you can kind of pull that tight. You see how they're going to kind of sit together like that. And you're going to peyote 1, and then increase 2. This is just what we did on the other side. 2 over 1, and do that twice. 2 over 1, and peyote 1 more into the yellow bead. That's going to look like that. 1, 2, 2, 1. Again, skip over that center bead, go into the next yellow bead, don't add anything. And keep going around in this pattern. Peyote 1, put 2 in the next space, 2 again, and 1 into the yellow, and skip to decrease. Okay, keep going around like that, and we'll meet at the end of this row to see how it's looking. Okay, here we are at the end of the second row on the inside. It's still looking kind of weird. My last stitch is going to be 2 beads, and then I'm going to step up. There it is. Okay, it's looking a little strange, I admit. You can kind of push those yellow beads down, and you'll see where they will kind of come together on each of those little petals. So if you want, kind of push them down, and you'll see how it's going to look. Now for the next row, we're going to do what we did in row 4 on the other side, again in light purple. First thing you're going to do is just skip right over all those yellow beads and go into the next section. We're not adding a bead in the corner, and that is going to make it really cinch together like that. Then we're going to peyote around 1 in each space, including the increases from the previous row. So that's that. 1 on the top of the petal, 1 between the increases, and 1 more. And again, skip all those yellow beads and go to the next purple one in the next section. You can cinch that together. Now that's looking better, right? So it's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peyote per section, and you can count those out if you're unsure. That's why it's nice to have contrasting colors too. Going around this next section. That's 3 at the top. Oh. Okay, 4. And 5, and go right over to that next purple bead. Cinch that in. Okay, it's already looking better. And I'll see you at this end of this row. We've got 1 more row to go after this. Okay, it's looking pretty good. I've got my last bead here, and I'm gonna go down into the corner, and I'm gonna step up through those 2 beads for the next section to finish. So basically you're stepping up through 3 beads, but that's okay. It's going to get us to our next row where we want to go. Okay, we've got 1 more row to go. It's looking pretty good, and that is the mirror of row 5 on the first side. So basically we're going to use this dark purple color, and I'm going to be putting 1 peyote, 1 bead per space, including 1 in the corner. Okay. So there's my 1 in the corner. So jump right over to the next purple bead. That's how it's going to look. So you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 1 in the corner in this row. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1 in the little corner here. Oh, I didn't pick up a bead. Happens to the best of us. It's just going to sit like that. Keep going around, 4 per petal and 1 in the corner, and then the next row will be zipping up. Okay, so the last bead in this row is my my little corner bead, and then I'm going to step up to the outside, and we are pretty much done with our bead weaving. All the beads are laid in, so the next thing we need to do is zip it up. So wherever you are in this, for instance here I've got those 2 beads that was in row 6, that were in row 6 on the first side. I'm going to start zipping it up. 1 bead over here, 2 beads on the other side, to 1 bead, and when you get to this middle section you'll have the center bead to go through, that bead right there. I'm about to lose my thread. And just keep going back and forth from side to side and pull it a little bit, and they will sit, they should sit next to each other really nicely. And I will come back at the end to talk to you about the tying it off. Okay, you're done. This makes a really nice element. Tie off the threads, and it's flexible enough to add into your work, and it's stiff enough to use as an element in an earring. If you do post your picture of making this project on social media, I'd love a shout out. I really appreciate that. Some people have been posting without any attribution, but I really would like to see what you're making. You can tag me at @SeedBeadBliss on Facebook or Instagram, and let me know how it goes, and let me know if you have any questions. Thanks so much for watching.